I hear that you're planning to cancel the oil licenses to actors like Chevron and Repsol and others. And my question is, are you planning to cancel those oil contracts before or after January 10th, which is when Maduro is supposed to be assuming the presidency?
I can't speak to the actions that we'll take in terms of when we'll take them. I'm happy to follow up with your office.
You know, you can take this opportunity to announce, sir, that we are not going to be doing business with the dictators anymore. And then the whole world is looking at you. So why don't you send the right message to Maduro and saying, if you steal the elections, you're not going to make any money off
Well,
us?
I think we've been sending very clearly the message about how we see the election, how we see the abuse of the system by Maduro, the work that we've done to support Mr. Gonzalez and
I know,
others
sir,
going
but
forward.
the problem is that if the Maduro regime has money from Chevron, that goes to PDVSA, goes to the treasury, and then they have more money for the repressive apparatus. You know that.
And as you know, the opposition supported all the efforts that we took to see if we could get an election that would reflect the will of the people. We got an election. We saw the will of the people. Unfortunately, it's not been recognized.
And they stole it, and now he's
Right?
going
And so
to be
now,
sworn in on January the 10th.
And
But you can send the message to Chevron saying no more oil for now.
we will take the necessary steps to make clear.
But I hear that you are thinking about doing that. Is that correct?
Again, everything is on the table right now, including in terms of the licenses.
Good. Now let's go to Colombia, sir. President Petro from Colombia has asked President Biden to pardon a guy, but most people here won't know who he is. His name is Simon Trinidad. He's a terrorist. He is serving 60 years in prison, at a federal prison, for kidnapping 3 American contractors. What was your recommendation to the president, to pardon Simon Trinidad?
I'm not aware of that request, but I'm happy to follow up. I'm not aware.
You're not aware?
I'm not aware of that request.
But you know, if that request should go through the State Department, that's you.
Imagine it would.
So you have not heard about that. But
I'm
if
not
that
aware.
were to be the case within the next hours, what recommendation would you give the president?
I'd have to make sure that I'm fully informed.
Well, he's a terrorist.
Again, I want to see, if there is something, I want to see it, understand it, and read it. But certainly his record speaks for itself.
But you understand that if you were to pardon Simon Trinidad, you will make every single Colombian living in the United States a Republican, right? And we don't want to do that. I mean, we're happy about that, but that's not the honorable thing to do. So make sure that President Biden doesn't make a mistake. Just it's humble opinion. Let's go to Cuba. Is Cuba under review to be removed from the list of countries sponsors of terrorism? Is it under review, sir?
I don't anticipate any changes in our policy toward Cuba during the pendency of this administration.
All right, I'm happy you're saying that. Laudable to hear that, but specifically, is it under review right now? Because if you're going to remove a country from a list of terrorists, of this country's sponsors of terrorism, you need to start a review. And my question is it yes or no? Is Cuba under review?
Under the law, depending on the different authorities of this kind, some mandate a regular review, others don't. All I can tell you right now, sitting here today, is I don't anticipate any changes in our policy.
So you are telling me that between now and January 20th, the President of the United States is not planning to remove those bastards, the Cuban regime, off the list of countries that sponsor terrorism?
As I said, I don't anticipate any changes in
You
our
don't
policy.
anticipate.
Right.
So how can I interpret anticipate? Can you commit right now that that's not going to happen? You know why? Because all I'm doing is trying to give money to the repressive apparatus that has been taking everything away from the Cubans. You're aware of that, right? So I just need to make sure that you understand the message from my community. Do not do that. Don't give them the oxygen that they want to continue greasing the repressive apparatus. Tell me. You have 20 seconds.
I can't. I do not make decisions for the
Sure
president.
you do. Come on. Sure you do.
I do
You're
not
the
make
State
decisions for the
Department.
president.
You
The
give the
president makes decisions. All I can
recommendation
tell
whether
you
to take
is-
them or not. Tell me. I'm
All I
sorry.
can tell you is I
Tell
don't
me.
anticipate any changes in our policy toward Cuba between now and the end of this administration.
Thank you. I'm going to take your word as your bond. Let's keep it that way. I appreciate it, sir.